My girlfriend said, "You're not spontaneous." I replied, "Spontaneously leaving you." Then I canceled her flight, took back my credit card, vanished, and I smiled when spontaneous left her stranded. Hey Reddit, you're not spontaneous enough for me anymore. The words hung in the air of our shared apartment like a death sentence. My girlfriend of 3 years stood there with her arms crossed, her packed suitcase by the door, waiting for me to drive her to the airport for what was supposed to be our romantic getaway to Cancun. The trip I'd planned for 6 months. The vacation I'd saved for. The resort I'd booked on my credit card. I'm 29. She's 27. We'd been living together for 18 months, and until that moment, I thought we were planning a future. Spontaneous, I repeated slowly, looking at the printout of our meticulously organized itinerary on the coffee table. I'm not spontaneous. That's what I said. She checked her phone, clearly impatient. You plan everything to death. You're boring. Predictable. I need someone who can surprise me, who lives in the moment. I felt something crack inside my chest, but my voice came out steady. You want spontaneous? Yes, that's literally what I just said. She rolled her eyes like I was an idiot for not understanding. Okay. I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app. Let me be spontaneous for once. She watched me, confused, as I navigated to my credit card account. The one with her name as an authorized user. The one currently holding our flight confirmations, hotel reservation, and rental car booking. What are you doing? She asked, her tone shifting from annoyed to uncertain. I held up one finger, made a few taps, and looked up at her with a smile that felt foreign on my face. Being spontaneous. I'm spontaneously deciding that I'm not paying for your vacation. Her face went pale. What? I'm also spontaneously removing you as an authorized user on my credit card. Another few taps. Done. And you know what else would be really spontaneous? If I just didn't drive you to the airport. You're joking. Her voice cracked slightly. Do I look like I'm joking? I set my phone down and met her eyes. You want spontaneity? Here it is. Raw. Unplanned. Completely in the moment. You can't just, we have a trip. No, I interrupted. I have a trip. Or I had one. I'm spontaneously canceling it right now. I picked up my phone again and called the airline. She lunged forward, trying to grab the phone from my hand, but I turned away. The automated system picked up, and I navigated to the cancellation option while she frantically circled me like a shark that just realized the tables had turned. Hi. Yes, I need to cancel a reservation. I kept my voice pleasant while she clutched at my arm. I shrugged her off. Confirmation number? Sure, let me pull that up. Stop it, she screamed. You're being insane. I'm being spontaneous, I corrected. Isn't this exciting? Don't you just love not knowing what's going to happen next? The agent confirmed my cancellation. I got a partial refund minus the fees. I didn't care about the money anymore. She stood frozen, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. My ticket. Your ticket was purchased on my card, which you no longer have access to. So technically, you don't have a ticket anymore either. I sat down on the couch, feeling weirdly calm. But hey, I'm sure your spontaneous nature will help you figure something out. This is ridiculous. Her voice climbed an octave. We've been planning this for months. I know. Boring, predictable me and my boring, predictable planning. I leaned back, crossing my arms behind my head. But you're right. I should be more spontaneous. Like right now, I'm spontaneously deciding that I don't want to be with someone who thinks planning and effort mean I'm boring. The reality was starting to sink in for her. I could see it in her eyes, the calculations running, the panic setting in. She'd taken 3 days off work for this trip. She'd told all her friends and coworkers about the romantic vacation her boyfriend was taking her on. She'd posted about it on social media. You can't do this to me, she whispered. I just did. I stood up and walked to the bedroom. In fact, I'm going to keep being spontaneous. I grabbed her suitcase from by the door and wheeled it into the bedroom, then started pulling her clothes from my dresser drawers. She followed me, her voice rising. What are you doing now? Spontaneously deciding that I don't want to live with you anymore. You're breaking up with me? The disbelief in her voice would have been funny if my heart wasn't simultaneously breaking and hardening into something new. Give the lady a prize, I muttered, tossing her folded shirts into the suitcase. Over one comment. Are you serious right now? I stopped and turned to face her fully. Over one comment. Let's be honest about what that comment really was. She blinked at me. That wasn't a comment. That was a verdict. You've been judging me, measuring me, and apparently finding me lacking. Boring. Predictable. Not spontaneous enough. I went back to packing her things. You want to know what's really spontaneous? Leaving before things get worse. Before you cheat on me with some exciting guy who doesn't plan ahead and can't hold down a job. Before I waste another 3 years trying to be something I'm not. I never said I would cheat. But you were thinking it, weren't you? I zipped up one suitcase and grabbed another from the closet. Be honest. Were you planning to use this trip to see if you could find yourself or meet someone more interesting? Her silence was answer enough. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Yeah, that's what I thought. You don't understand, she started, her voice taking on a pleading quality now. I just meant that we're in a rut, that we need to shake things up. I didn't mean. You meant exactly what you said. And you know what? I'm grateful. I continued packing her bathroom items, her makeup, her hair products. You could have let this drag on for years. Could have married me while secretly resenting me for being stable and reliable. Could have had kids with me and then left when you hit your midlife crisis. Stop putting words in my mouth. Then tell me the truth. I faced her again, holding a bottle of her expensive shampoo. The one I'd bought her last week because she mentioned she was running low. What did you really mean when you said I'm not spontaneous enough? She opened her mouth, closed it, then looked away. I feel like we're already an old married couple. There's no excitement, no passion. We have sex 3 times a week. That's scheduled, she shot back. Because we both work full-time jobs, and I go to the gym in the mornings, and you do yoga at night. Scheduling intimacy when you're both busy adults isn't boring. It's being realistic. See? That's exactly what I mean. She threw her hands up. You're always so logical. So practical. Where's the romance? Where's the surprise? I gestured around the room. The surprise is me packing your things and ending this relationship on what was supposed to be the day we left for a romantic vacation that I planned and saved for. Surprise. She sank onto the edge of the bed, and I saw tears starting to form in her eyes. A month ago, that would have broken me. Today, it just made me pack faster. I didn't want this, she said quietly. No, you wanted me to magically transform into someone else. Someone spontaneous and unpredictable and exciting. I threw her jewelry box into the suitcase. You wanted me to be different while also being the stable, reliable guy who plans the vacations and pays for everything. That's not fair. You're right. It's not fair. It's not fair that I spent 6 months researching the perfect resort. It's not fair that I picked up extra shifts at work to afford first-class tickets. It's not fair that I requested time off 4 months in advance to make sure we could go. My voice was rising now, and I didn't try to stop it. And it's especially not fair that you waited until today, the day we're supposed to leave, to tell me I'm not good enough. I didn't say you're not good enough. You're not spontaneous enough for me anymore. That's exactly what you said. And the anymore part really stings, you know? Like maybe I used to be, but now I'm just, what? A boring provider? An ATM with a pulse. She flinched. I never treated you like that. I pulled out my phone again and opened our text messages. Started scrolling. March 15th. Can you pick up dinner? I don't feel like cooking. March 18th. Did you remember to schedule the oil change for my car? March 22nd. Can you grab me tampons on your way home? April 2nd. Stop it. Her voice was small. April 2nd. Can you Venmo me for the girls' brunch? I'm short this week. I kept scrolling. April 9th. Did you pay the electric bill? April 16th. Can you call the landlord about the leaky faucet? You're better at that stuff. I looked up at her. Should I keep going? Because I can. I can go back months, maybe even years. Every time you needed something handled, who did you call? You're my boyfriend. That's what partners do. You're right. Partners handle things. Partners support each other. But tell me, when's the last time you did something spontaneous for me? She stared at me, and I could see her mind working, searching for an example. That's what I thought. I zipped up the second suitcase. You don't want spontaneous. You want convenient excitement. You want the stability I provide with the thrill of dating a bad boy. And that's not how life works. This is because of her, isn't it? She suddenly accused, her tears drying as anger took over. I paused. What? Your coworker. The one you're always talking about. The one who's so funny and gets your jokes. I actually laughed. Nicole? You're bringing up Nicole right now. You talk about her constantly. I mention her because we work on the same projects and she's become a friend. A friend I've never touched, never flirted with, never even thought about in that way. I shook my head. But I love that you're trying to flip this. You criticize me, insult our relationship, and imply I'm boring, but somehow I'm the bad guy for having a work friend. You've probably been planning to leave me for her. I wasn't planning to leave you at all. The words burst out of me. I was planning a romantic vacation. I was planning our future. I was planning to propose to you on the beach at sunset on the third night of our trip. The room went silent. Her face went white. What? I laughed bitterly and walked to my nightstand, pulled open the drawer, and took out a small velvet box. Opened it to reveal a diamond ring. Surprise. More planning. More boring predictability. She stared at the ring, her mouth falling open. You were going to ask you to marry me. Yeah. I snapped the box shut and tossed it back in the drawer. But I guess it's good I found out how you really feel before I made that mistake. I didn't know. That's the problem with spontaneity. I interrupted. Sometimes the surprise is good. Sometimes it's an engagement ring. And sometimes it's finding out your girlfriend thinks you're boring right before you plan to commit your entire life to her. She reached for the box, but I closed the drawer. Don't. Can I at least? No. I went back to packing. We're done. I'm being spontaneous, remember? I'm unpredictable now, living in the moment. And in this moment, I want you gone. Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem anymore. I carried both suitcases to the living room and set them by the door. But I'm sure you'll figure it out spontaneously. This is my apartment too. Actually, it's not. The lease is in my name. You moved in with me. Check the paperwork. I opened the door and stood beside it. But hey, if you want to be spontaneous, I'm sure you can find somewhere exciting to crash. She just stood there, staring at me like she'd never seen me before. What's wrong? I asked. I thought you wanted surprises. I thought you wanted excitement. Well, here it is. Your boring, predictable boyfriend just became completely unpredictable. You're being cruel. I'm being honest. There's a difference. I gestured to the open door. You can come back tomorrow when I'm at work to get the rest of your things. I'll box them up and leave them in the living room. But right now, I want you out. It's my home. It was your home. Past tense. I picked up my phone again. Don't make me be spontaneous about calling the cops. That got her moving. She grabbed her purse with shaking hands and moved toward her suitcases. Then she turned back to me one more time. You're going to regret this. Maybe, I admitted, but probably not. You know why? Because in a few months, after the hurt fades, I'll remember this moment. I'll remember standing up for myself. I'll remember not settling for someone who saw my best qualities as flaws. And I'll be grateful. Good luck finding someone who puts up with you, she spat. Good luck finding someone who plans vacations, pays for everything, and is also spontaneously exciting 24/7, I countered. Let me know how that works out. She grabbed the handle of one suitcase and tried to drag both toward the door. They were heavy. I'd packed everything I could find, and she struggled. I didn't help. She finally got them into the hallway and turned back one more time. I loved you. Past tense, I noted. How spontaneous. I closed the door in her face and locked it. Then I stood there in the sudden silence of my apartment, my apartment, and waited to fall apart. But I didn't. Instead, I felt lighter, like I'd been carrying something heavy for so long that I'd forgotten what it felt like to stand up straight. I walked to the kitchen and opened a beer. Not because it was 5 o'clock or because I needed to drink my feelings, but because I wanted one and I could. Spontaneously. Then I called my best friend, Trevor. "Hey man," he answered. "Aren't you supposed to be on a plane right now?" "Change of plans," I said, and I could hear the smile in my own voice. "You busy tonight?" I was going to play video games and order pizza." "What? How about you come over, bring your console, and we order pizza here instead? I've got beer." "Seriously? What about your trip?" "I'll explain when you get here. Just trust me. You're going to want to hear this story." On my way, I hung up and looked around the apartment. Our couple photos still on the walls. Her decorative pillows still on the couch. Her scented candles still on the shelves. Tomorrow, I'd deal with all that. Tomorrow, I'd box up her remaining things and remove all traces of her from my space. But tonight I was going to drink beer with my best friend, play video games, and enjoy being spontaneous. My phone buzzed. A text from her. "I can't believe you're doing this." I typed back, "I can't believe it took me this long." Another buzz. "You'll come crawling back." Me, "I won't. But I hope you find what you're looking for." "I really do. Just not with me." I blocked her number before she could respond. Trevor showed up 20 minutes later with his PlayStation and a confused expression. "Okay, what the hell happened? And why do you look happy?" I handed him a beer and grinned. "Sit down. This is going to sound insane." I told him everything. Every word of the conversation. The canceled trip. The packing. The ring I'd been planning to give her. He sat there with his mouth open, beer forgotten in his hand. "Dude, I know. You were going to propose." "I was. And she called you boring." "She did. And you just ended it. Right there." "Right there." He was quiet for a moment, then started laughing. "Holy hell, man. That's the most badass thing I've ever heard." "Is it?" I felt a flicker of doubt. Or did I overreact? "Are you kidding? She criticized you for the exact qualities that make you a good partner. Planning ahead, being reliable, making sure things get done. That's not boring. That's being an adult." He took a long drink of his beer. "And she did it right before a trip you planned and paid for? That's not just ungrateful. That's cruel." "That's what I thought, but nothing. You did the right thing." He pointed at me with his beer bottle. "You know what would have happened if you'd gone on that trip?" "What?" "She would have spent the whole week comparing you to every random guy at the resort. Every bartender, every jet ski instructor, every spring breaker. And she would have resented you the entire time for not being them. You would have come back engaged to someone who thought you were boring." I hadn't thought of it that way, but he was right. The trip would have been a nightmare. "Plus," Trevor continued, "she was definitely going to cheat on you." "You think so?" "Dude, you're not spontaneous enough for me anymore." That's not criticism. That's groundwork. That's her setting up her excuse for when she hooks up with some random dude and tells you it was your fault for being boring. My stomach twisted. I didn't want to think. "I know. Because you're a good guy who thinks the best of people. But trust me, I've seen this before. My brother went through the exact same thing with his ex-wife. She spent years complaining that he was too stable, too predictable. Then she left him for her personal trainer and blamed it on him being boring. That's awful." "Yeah. And my brother spent 2 years in therapy trying to figure out what he did wrong, when the truth was he didn't do anything wrong. He was just with someone who wanted the benefits of stability without the commitment." Trevor leaned forward. "You dodged a bullet, man. A big one." We spent the rest of the night playing games and talking. He told me about his brother's divorce and eventual recovery. I told him about the ring, about the sunset proposal I'd been planning, about the private dinner reservation at the resort restaurant. "You really had it all planned out," he said softly. "Yeah, but apparently planning means I'm boring. Planning means you care. There's a difference." He paused the game and looked at me. "You know what your problem is?" "What?" "You're 29 and you've got your shit together. You have a good job, a nice apartment, You're responsible with money. You think about the future. A lot of people our age are still figuring that out. And some people, like your ex, they're attracted to the stability you provide but resent you for being the person who provides it. That's really insightful. I have my moments. He grinned. But seriously, the right person won't see your planning as boring. They'll see it as you caring enough to make sure things go smoothly. They'll appreciate that you think ahead instead of resenting it. I hope you're right. I am. You'll see. Around midnight, my phone started buzzing. Different number. She was calling from a friend's phone. I didn't answer. She texted, "We need to talk about this." I didn't respond. She texted again, "You can't just throw away 3 years." I turned off my phone. "Good man," Trevor said, noticing. "Don't engage." She had her chance to talk before you kicked her out. The next morning, I woke up on the couch where I'd passed out during our gaming session. Trevor was asleep in the recliner, controller still in his hand. I checked my phone. 17 missed calls from various numbers. 12 text messages. 3 voicemails. I deleted them all without reading or listening. Then I got up and started boxing up her remaining things. Her books, her photos, her tchotchkes and decorations. Every item I packed felt like shedding dead weight. Trevor woke up and helped. We worked in silence mostly, the task speaking for itself. By noon, we had everything boxed and stacked by the door. The apartment looked bare but clean, empty but honest. "What are you going to do about the trip?" Trevor asked. "I mean, you already canceled it, but did you lose all the money?" "Got about 60% back after cancellation fees. The resort was non-refundable, but the airline gave me partial credit." "That sucks. Could be worse." I looked around the stripped apartment. Could have married her first. "True that." He checked his watch. "I gotta head out, but you going to be okay?" "Yeah, I think so." He gave me a bro hug on his way out. "Call me if you need anything." And seriously, you did the right thing. After he left, I sat in the quiet apartment and let myself feel everything I'd been pushing down. The hurt, the disappointment, the fear that maybe I'd overreacted. But under all that was something else. Something solid. Relief. I was relieved I didn't have to pretend anymore. Relieved I didn't have to wonder if I was good enough. Relieved I hadn't proposed to someone who saw my best qualities as flaws. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "This is her mom. What you did is unacceptable. She's devastated." I typed back. "With respect, this is between me and her. Please don't contact me again." The response came fast. She told me everything. "You're being childish and cruel." Me. She told you everything? Did she tell you what she said to me right before I was supposed to drive her to the airport for a vacation I planned and paid for? Did she tell you I was going to propose? 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, she didn't mention that. Me. I didn't think so. Again, please don't contact me. I'm not the bad guy here. I blocked that number too. Over the next few days, the messages kept coming. Her friends, her sister, even a cousin I'd met once at Thanksgiving. I blocked them all. The only message I responded to was from her directly, from yet another borrowed phone. "When can I come get my things?" Me. "They're boxed by the door. I'll leave the apartment unlocked from 2 to 4 p.m. on Saturday. Please don't take anything that isn't yours." Her. "We should talk." Me. "There's nothing to talk about." Her. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I said." Me. "Yes, you did. And that's okay. We wanted different things." Her. "I want you." Me. "You want what I provide. There's a difference." Her. "That's not true." Me. "Saturday, 2 to 4 p.m. Please don't make this harder than it needs to be." Saturday came. I went to Trevor's place and hung out while she collected her things. He'd offered without me even asking. That's the kind of friend he was. At 4:15, I got a text from her. "I got everything. The ring is still in your nightstand. I left my key on the counter." Me. "Okay." Her. "That's it? Just okay." Me. "What do you want me to say?" Her. "I want you to fight for us." I stared at that message for a long time. Part of me, the part that had loved her for 3 years, Wanted to do exactly that. Wanted to call her and apologize and take it all back. But the other part of me, the part that was stronger now, knew better. Me. You wanted someone spontaneous. I gave you spontaneous. This is the consequence. Her. You're not the man I fell in love with. Me. You're right. I'm better. Good luck with everything. I blocked that number too. Trevor looked at me. You good? Yeah. I said, and I meant it. I'm good. The following Monday, I went back to work. People asked about my vacation, and I gave them a simple answer. Plans changed. Long story. Nicole caught me at the coffee machine. Hey, I heard you didn't go on your trip. Everything okay? Yeah, actually. Everything's fine. She studied my face. You seem different. Different how? I don't know. Lighter? More relaxed. I smiled. We broke up. Oh no. I'm so sorry. Don't be. I poured my coffee. It was the right call. If you need to talk. I appreciate it. But honestly, I'm okay. And I was. Over the next few weeks, I settled into my new normal. The apartment felt bigger without her stuff in it. Quieter without her complaints. Easier without her needs constantly taking priority over my own. I started going to the gym more. Reading books I'd been putting off. Learning to cook properly instead of just grabbing takeout to avoid her criticism of my culinary skills. I even went on a date, just one, with a woman from the bookstore who'd been chatting with me about science fiction. It didn't lead anywhere, but it reminded me that I could meet new people, that my life wasn't over. About 2 months after the breakup, I ran into her at a coffee shop. She was with a guy I didn't recognize, younger, tattoos, ripped jeans, the kind of guy who looked like he rode a motorcycle and didn't believe in 401ks. She saw me and her face went pale. She leaned over and whispered something to motorcycle guy, who looked at me with open hostility. I just nodded at them and ordered my coffee. As I was leaving, she caught up to me outside. Hey. So this is weird. Doesn't have to be. I sipped my coffee. How've you been? Good. Great, actually. She glanced back at motorcycle guy through the window. That's Chad. We've been seeing each other for a few weeks. Good for you. I hope he's spontaneous enough. She flinched. That was low. Was it? I thought I was being genuine. And I was. Look, I don't harbor any ill will. I hope you're happy. Are you seeing anyone? Not seriously. Been focusing on myself mostly. She looked at me for a long moment. You look good. Happy. I am. I've been thinking about what you said. About me wanting what you provide without appreciating you providing it. Her voice got quiet. You were right. I know. That's all you're going to say? What do you want me to say? That I forgive you? That I understand? That we can be friends? I shook my head gently. I've moved on. You should too. I miss you sometimes. You miss the stability, the planning, the boring predictability that made your life easier. I wasn't angry anymore, just honest. But you don't miss me. Not really. How do you know? Because if you missed me, you wouldn't have waited until the day of our vacation to tell me I wasn't good enough. You would have had that conversation months earlier when there was still time to fix things. She didn't have an answer to that. I gotta go, I said. Take care of yourself. I walked away and didn't look back. That night, Trevor came over with pizza and beer, our new weekly tradition. Heard you ran into her today. How did you? Small world. My girlfriend's friend saw you guys talking. He opened a beer and handed it to me. How'd it go? Fine. Good, actually. She's dating some guy named Chad. Of course she is. Trevor laughed. Let me guess. He's super spontaneous and exciting? Probably. I didn't ask. You're handling this really well, you know that. Am I? Sometimes I wonder if I should have tried harder. If I overreacted. Dude, stop. You didn't overreact. She disrespected you and your relationship at the worst possible time. You stood up for yourself. That's not overreacting. That's having self-respect. I guess. No guessing. You did the right thing. And someday you'll meet someone who appreciates planning and stability and all the things that make you a good partner. Someone who sees those qualities as strengths, not flaws. You really think so? I know so. He raised his beer. to spontaneously ending relationships with people who don't appreciate us. I clinked my bottle against his. To spontaneity. 3 months later, I was doing great. Work was going well. I'd gotten a promotion. The apartment was fully mine, redecorated to my taste. I'd even adopted a cat from the shelter, a grumpy orange tabby I named Theorem because he was predictably unpredictable. And I'd started seeing someone new. Her name was Rachel, and she was an accountant, probably the least spontaneous profession possible. Our first date was at a board game cafe where we spent 4 hours strategizing and laughing. On our third date, she said, "I really appreciate how you always plan our dates. My ex used to just show up and expect me to have ideas, and it was exhausting." I smiled. "Really?" "Because my ex said I was too predictable." "That's insane. Planning shows you care. It means you're thinking about the other person and what would make them happy." That's exactly what I thought. "Well, your ex was an idiot." She reached across the table and took my hand. "I like that you plan things. It makes me feel valued." And just like that, I knew I'd made the right choice. The spontaneous choice. The choice to walk away from someone who didn't see my worth. Sometimes the most spontaneous thing you can do is stop trying to be someone you're not. Sometimes the most exciting thing you can do is stand up for yourself. And sometimes the most unpredictable thing you can do is refuse to settle. I never regretted canceling that flight. Never regretted taking back my credit card. Never regretted the moment I spontaneously decided I deserved better. Because I did. And now I had it. The last time I heard from my ex was 6 months after the breakup. A single text from a new number. "Chad and I broke up. You were right about everything. I'm sorry." I read it, smiled, and deleted it without responding. Because some conversations don't need closure. Some chapters just need to end. And some people need to learn the hard way that stability and planning aren't boring. They're privileges. Privileges you lose when you take them for granted. I never blocked that last number. I just never responded. And eventually, she stopped trying. Life moved on. I moved on. And I lived spontaneously ever after. Just not with her.